recession fridge. The world is on fire. We are all broke. We are living in a recession. So I'm on a mission to make all of my favorite foods, not only vegan, but now, because I'm broke, cheap, like budget friendly, as cheap as humanly possible. So we're gonna try and make a Crunchwrap Supreme cheap. We're gonna try and make a lasagna dirt cheap. And we're gonna try and make a Fettuccini Alfredo, also dirt to cheaper. So I think this is gonna be a very easy thing for me to do because this is now my second recession. Yes, I'm a millennial. This is my second time around, and at this point, I know how to be a broke bitch. All right, so the first recipe is a copycat of a Crunchwrap Supreme, but cheap. Now I understand that Taco Bell is cheap, but instead of getting a traditional like ground beef, we're gonna use lentils. We're gonna season it with taco seasoning. For the cheese, I just made nacho cheese out of carrots and potato. I have a recipe for that on my website. Instead of getting corn tortillas, we're gonna use leftover tortilla chips. All those little bits in the bottom of the bag, this is a great use for them. Reduce, reuse, recycle in a recession. And then the rest of the ingredients are literally what you would find in a crunch wrap. So we've got some lettuce, we've got some tomato, we have some onion. All right, so let's start with the lentils. 3 cups water, 1 cup lentils. And then to season it, I'm just gonna use some bouillon. This is just vegetable bouillon. You can either use cubes, or you can use a powder, or you can use broth. But again, broth, expensive. Also heavy to carry. So bouillon cubes are cheap and they're light. When it's boiling, just reduce it to like a simmer, and you wanna simmer it for like 20-ish minutes.
20 minutes later.
Our lentils are tender. Now we're going to, what's the word? Drain them. Just use the same pan, because why dirty more dishes? Heat up a little bit of olive oil and cook some onions. We're making taco meat, so we need taco seasoning. I'm also gonna pour back like a 1/4 cup of that lentil juice, and then add the lentils back too. Cook it for like another 10 minutes-ish, or until they taste good to you. All those flavors are together.
10 minutes later.
Okay, it's time to build our crunch wrap. Very simple. Some lentils. I'm gonna use like a 1/4 cup. You wanna do it in the center and leave enough space so that you can fold everything closed. My chips. And then we have cheese. Now obviously you can buy store-bought cheese, but this is cheaper. It's potato and carrot. So we've got our cheese. We're gonna go with some lettuce. I like a little bit of onion. Some tomatoes. And then I have a hot pan here. This is the fun part. Sometimes it looks right, sometimes it doesn't. All right, I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna spray. Put that seam side down and toast it. The toasting is gonna hold that together. It's gonna create like a little envelope seal. Then flip it and toast the other side. Ta-da! Taco Bell at home. Oh my God, look at this thing. It's so good. Okay. Oh, it's so good. Before I fill up on this, let's go to the next recipe. Okay, our second recipe, we're going to do a lazy lasagna, but we're also going to do a stupid cheap lazy lasagna. This is a great way to use up any of those like bits and pieces in the bottoms of your lasagna noodle boxes. Instead of ground beef, I'm going to use lentils again, but these ones are red lentils. So frozen vegetables are a great thing for this. I like frozen spinach, it's cheaper. And then you can use whatever vegetables that you want. For the mirepoix, I'm doing like the traditional carrot. I didn't have celery, but I had a zucchini, so we're using that instead. We're just gonna use canned crushed tomatoes. For a big can, it's like $2. We're going to start with some olive oil. Carrots, zucchini. So to save money, I actually decided not to use onions or garlic. You can just use onion powder and garlic powder. You probably already have it. Some Italian seasoning. To cook the lentils, again, I'm going to use bouillon cubes. You can also use bouillon powder. Our lentils and water. Bring that to a boil. Take a can of crushed tomatoes and add that. Stir that in. Add in the frozen spinach. Now this is totally optional, but you can add soy milk. I like to. It adds a level of creaminess. Now take your lasagna noodles. If you are using just the crumbs in the bottom of the box, throw them in. If you have bits and pieces like this, perfect, because I'm just gonna break them up into little pieces like this. Just throw them in there. Not down here. Nice try, buddy. Okay, so just cook this for like 5-ish minutes until the pasta starts to soften. Now we're going to add some cheese. Okay, now transfer everything to a baking dish. Cover it with tons of cheese. I did not grate enough cheese, so we're grating more, except my cheese grating days are over. Machines. Not quite AI, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Also, if you run out of shredded cheese, just grate your sliced cheese. There we go. Much better. Now we're gonna cover this with some foil. I find that vegan cheese sometimes has difficulty melting, so because you're keeping the heat in and it kind of creates a steam, it melts and disperses really nice and evenly. Plus, it stops your lasagna from drying out. Bake it for 20 minutes. All right, moment of truth. So good. Tastes like a lasagna. Zero effort. Budget friendly. Absolutely delicious. So good. Highly recommend the extra layer of cheese on the top. Okay, so the last recipe is another pasta. I'm going to make a fettuccine Alfredo, but instead of buying like a vegan cooking cream, we're gonna use beans. This is also a great alternative to cashews. So if you have a recipe that you already love for a vegan Alfredo, or really any creamy sauce, you can use white beans. And for some greens, again, cheap frozen peas. Let's do it. And for the pasta, just, okay, nope, trying to escape. For the pasta, you can get just like any dried pasta. This one, I think, was $1.29. Yay, we love that. We are going to start every great pasta sauce the same way. Olive oil, garlic, and onion. While you are doing this part, you can also be doing this part, which is cooking the pasta. So you want heavily salted water to taste like the ocean. 1 tablespoon is what I like to do. Add your beans. Okay, measure out your pasta. I have this handy dandy pasta measure. This is for 1 serving, 2 servings, 3 servings, and 4 servings. I have a link if you want it. It's in my Amazon page, which is linked. But I think it's very handy if you are like me and you have terrible depth perception and just can't eyeball things very well. Cook your pasta. Now we're going to transfer everything into a blender. Add some soy milk, lemon juice, nutritional yeast, duh. And then this is totally optional. I had it, so I'm gonna add it, but I'm gonna add some miso. Just add some of your pasta cooking water. Nice and starchy. Okay, that was supposed to stay on there. Awesome, we've hit that point in the day now. So now we're going to add our sauce into our pan, and then again, just keep adding some of that starchy water and stir it around. I'm going to take the pasta and put it right into the pan from the water. That looks so good. More in my hair. It is very good without the hair. broke bitch meals can look really good and taste really good. All right, there you have it. 3 delicious meals on a budget. The recipes will be linked. Okay, now get out of my kitchen. Bye.